Hello, ladies, gents, and fairy rents. It's nice seeing you again. My name is Cedric, this is Cedric's Library, and today we are gonna talk about my very first D&D character I ever made and ever played. Now, last time we talked about a barbarian I created. If you haven't watched this, check it out. I like this character so much. So if you're interested, go check him out. But this time we are gonna talk about my very first character. Years before the barbarian. And we're gonna start. This character is a paladin, because I'm a righteous mother effer. And I wanted to be the guideline of the group, which ended up not working because I fell into savagery and banditry as well. But we have a centaur paladin oath of conquest, meaning this guy is nice. His name is Miraxora, and if you watched the other video I made about my barbarian, his name is Pax Maldan. I like weird names. So if you have any suggestions or any weird names you came up with or you came across, please let me know. I'm very excited to see what might come up there. So yeah, I'm a sucker for weird names. Please let me know if you have any. Okay, back to the build. He has a strength of 18, dexterity 12, constitution 17, intelligence 9, wisdom 10, and charisma 15. So it's a bit of a weird arrangement, I think, because he's illiterate, technically, after D&D rules. He can't read, he can't write. Luckily, he can talk. But my idea behind him was, I don't want this typical paladin. I don't want a guy in heavy armor with a shield and a sword or something like that. I wanted something different, so I ended up making him a gladiator. I know there is something better to make a gladiator out of, namely a fighter, but paladin. Okay, I wanted some magic. I didn't want to be the guy that just sits around doing nothing but hitting enemies with his sword 4 times a turn. So I created this character to be a gladiator type, meaning his kit consisted of studded leather armor, a net in his offhand, and a trident in his main hand. You see the resemblances there, don't you? So I made him this way. I rolled the stats. I distributed the stats like I just mentioned, and we played. It was a campaign starting at level 1, and I wasn't alone, obviously. We had a rogue changeling, we had a orc barbarian, he was a bit of the problem player, a elf wizard, a dragonborn bard, a simic hybrid druid, and a warforged fighter. 6 guys, 6 people sitting around a table playing D&D. Yeah, it wouldn't be very long until I started my first player rivalry with the orc barbarian. Because I'm a paladin, I have something of a righteous heart. And that's how I played my paladin. But the orc was racist against everything that wasn't an orc. So naturally we came into conflict there, which meant we were bickering a lot. And it ended in two 1v1s between us, which was never good for me because he steamrolled me. Because, you know, low armor class, not that much HP at level 1. He steamrolled me. Anyway, our mission was to deliver some supplies to dwarven mines. And we were with a cart, we had mining equipment, drinks and food supplies on it. We round a corner on the road and suddenly see two dead horses. We go to investigate and get attacked by goblins, obviously. We manage to overwhelm these goblins and are faced with a decision. Do we keep going like our quest giver wanted, or do we investigate? We investigated, at least the horse carcasses, before we went on. And due to that, we found out that these horses belong to our quest giver and his personal bodyguard. Which is fun, because if this guy isn't alive, we won't get paid. So it was good that we investigated, because if not, we might have not gotten the money. Anyway, we followed the goblins to their cave, and it's a cave. Meaning, there can be steep cliffs. Now, as a centaur, you have one debuff, and this is equine build. You count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity and the weight you can push or drag. In addition, any limb that requires hands and feet is sorry, I'm starting over. You count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity and the weight you can push or drag. In addition, any climb that requires hands and feet is especially difficult for you because of your equine legs. When you make such a climb, each foot of movement costs you 4 extra feet instead of the normal 1 extra foot. Meaning, I am as good as useless for climbing missions. And of course, we ended up at a steep cliff. We ended up having to climb. What did we do? We sent the barbarian to climb up to the ledge, and then throw a rope down that we would tie around my character, around my paladin, and the barbarian would pull me up. It worked for a time. I was at the ledge, so this worked. But the barbarian wasn't the smartest either, because he jumped down to help another character, and he almost downed himself from the fall damage. He climbed back up, he drank a health potion, was back to full. But yeah, okay. So, we are at this ledge and there is a wall blocking our way. Meaning, and I quote, we have to overcome the AC of the stone to get further. Courtesy of our barbarian who started hitting the wall with his axe. Now what did he roll? A natural 20. Our DM said, yep, fuck it, stupid thing, but we do it. So he broke through that wall with his axe. It was so weird. Anyway, he broke through, we head away, and the first thing that greeted us were 3 goblins, a bugbear, and a giant direwolf. Modded for level 1 characters, obviously. And we beat those. Namely the wolf, which our barbarian skinned to make a coat for himself. Which I didn't agree with either, but he did it, so yeah. Then we went on to the next room, which was full of goblins, and this is where our bard came in. He casted Vicious Mockery on one of the goblins, insulting his grandmother. Yeah. It didn't went well. We started the fight. We ended the fight with almost everyone dead. We did a long rest. And then we went on the next day. Now we came into a little cave with, I think, 4 or 5 goblins and a campfire. This is where I thought this was my moment. This is my moment, I'm gonna do something. Centaurs have the ability to charge. Let me read. If you move at least 30 feet straight toward the target and then hit it with a melee weapon attack on the same turn, you can immediately follow that attack with a bonus action, making one attack against the target with your hooves. So I thought, I'm gonna charge in and I'm gonna hit these goblins with my hooves. I'm gonna impale one on my trident and I'm gonna kick one with my legs. Okay. Said and done. I roll for charge, I roll for hit, I roll a net 1. I charge, I stumble, roll through the fire, take 3 points of fire damage and am prone on the ground. Fantastic. The goblins start wailing on me and I'm going down. At this point the rest of my party joins in and we start massacring the goblins, and I get up. One last goblin is on his feet. The barbarian throws one of his throwing axes, rolls a net 1 and hits me in the head with the grip of his axe. I go down again. I had one turn in this combat where I thought this is my combat. And I'm just done. Yeah, we found the bodyguard of our quest giver, and he told us the infos we needed, where our quest giver was, in a special cave that was known for its cosmic design. Like, it looks like stars on the walls and on the top of the cave, at the ceiling of the cave. This is what I meant. So we are still in this cave trying to get information out of the bodyguard. and our barbarian, remember he's racist, decides that this human fighter of a bodyguard isn't worth the information he still has, and decides to kill him. He killed our informant. Naturally, we were outraged. It wasn't the best move he could have done, and we were pissed. So I started a 1v1 with him, which he won. Again. I still don't like this. And yes. We went back to our cart, delivered the supplies, and then we're like, okay, we have to look for our quest giver. But this was when we started having scheduling problems and some player problems as well. So in the end, we never went further than this. Now I am a DM. Now I DM for my own players, some of whom are still from that campaign. And yeah, now we play in my own homebrew world, which is actually kinda nice. So, I cheated a bit. In the campaign I played him in, I never got to play my paladin over level 2 because of these issues. So I made him level 5 because, again, I think level 5 is one of the best levels to create a new character. Because you have some of the nice stuff and you can grasp more what your character can and can't do. Okay, now I'm done with the story. I'm gonna recount or read to you what his abilities are. As a centaur, you have Survivor. You have proficiency in one of the following skills: animal handling, medicine, nature, or survival. It's funny, can be useful. Now, Fey. Your creature type is Fey rather than humanoid. Makes sense, I'm only half human. Charge I read. Hooves. Your hooves are natural melee weapons which you can use to make unarmed strikes. If you hit with them, you deal bludgeoning damage equal to 1d4 plus your strength modifier, instead of the bludgeoning damage normal for an unarmed strike. Equine build, I already read that. Now we have City's Watch. This is his background, and it gives you the ability Watcher's Eye. Your experience in enforcing the law and dealing with lawbreakers gives you a feel for local laws and criminals. You can easily find a local outpost of the Watch or a similar organization, and just as easily pick out the dens of criminal activities in a community, although you are more likely to be welcome in the former locations rather than the latter. Yeah, it just fit him. He's this righteous goody two-shoes. Then we have the Conquest subclass. He's a Oath of Conquest paladin. So he has oath spells. You gain oath spells at the paladin levels listed. Oath of Conquest spells. Paladin level spells. 3rd level Armor of Agathis and Command. 5th Hold Person Spiritual Weapon. 9th Bestow Curse and Fear. 13th Dominate Beast and Stone Skin. And 17th Cloud Kill and Dominate Person. Now, I like the idea of him. He's not very armored. His AC is not the highest. So I like this armor of Agatha's point, because this is a spell I'm really fond of. It gives you temporary HP, and if you get hit, the enemy takes that much damage. They do up to a certain maximum, which is at level 1 5 HP, and scales for a plus 5 HP every level you use above 1. Yeah, and you have the Channel Divinity. When you take your oath at 3rd level, you gain the following 2 Channel Divinity options. Conquering Presence. You can use your Channel Divinity to execute a terrifying presence as an action. You force each creature of your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you to make a Wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, a creature becomes frightened of you for 1 minute. The frightened creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending this effect if on itself on a success. And Guided Strike. You can use your Channel Divinity to strike with supernatural accuracy. When you make an attack roll, you can use your Channel Divinity to gain a plus 10 bonus to the roll. You make this choice after you see the roll, but before the DM says whether the attack hits or misses. So this is the conquest. Now for the Paladin. You have Divine Sense. The presence of strong evil registers on your senses like a noxious odor, and powerful good rings like heavenly music in your ears. As an action, you can open your awareness to detect such forces. Until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead within 60 feet of you that is not behind total cover. You know the type, celestial, fiend, or undead, of any being whose presence you sense, but not its identity. The vampire Count Strahd from Zarovich, for instance. Within the same radius, you also detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated, as with the Hallow spell. You can use this feature a number of times equal to 1 plus your Charisma modifier. When you finish a long rest, you regain all expended uses. It's fine. It specializes in celestials, fiends, and undead, which aren't necessarily a part of every D&D campaign, but yeah, it's fine. Lay on Hands. Your blessed touch can heal wounds. You have a pool of healing power that replenishes when you take a long rest. With the pool, you can restore a total number of hit points equal to your paladin level times 5. As an action, you can touch a creature and draw power from the pool to restore a number of hit points to that creature, up to the maximum amount remaining in your pool. Alternatively, you can expend 5 hit points from the pool of healing to cure the target of 1 disease or neutralize 1 poison affecting it. You can cure multiple diseases and neutralize multiple poisons with a single Lay on Hands, expending hit points separately for each one. This feature has no effect on undead and constructs. Then you have your fighting style, and he has the dueling fighting style. When you are wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons, you gain a +2 bonus to damage rolls with that weapon. Spellcasting, you have spellcasting ability. Divine Smite. Starting at 2nd level, when you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you can expend 1 spell slot to deal radiant damage to the target in addition to the weapon's damage. The extra damage is 2d8 for a 1st level spell slot, plus 1d8 for each spell level higher than 1st, to a maximum of 5d8. The damage increases by 1d8 if the target is an undead or fiend, to a maximum of 6d8. This is actually very handy, smiting someone. Divine Health. At 3rd level, the divine magic flowing through you makes you immune to disease, which is very nice if you play intrigue games with people and the campaign. At 4th level, you gain an ability score improvement, which is standard, and at level 5 you gain the extra attack. Beginning at 5th level, you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Meaning I can attack twice per turn, which is nice. actually. Now, I know, it was my first character. I don't have a really good backstory for him yet. There will be one, as there will be one for Pax Maldan. I am gonna read them. I'm gonna write them and read them to you guys. So stay tuned for this. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day. See you next time. Bye bye.